Okay, so we're back to Clay Week and
Yay!
with Miss Wilkins and Miss Limbo, and we decided to make this video to help you move things along a little quicker. You're going to start off today with a slab of clay, which is an appropriate thickness. You are going to use some templates for circles. We are not cookie cuttering, so we're not pressing into the clay. We are laying this on the clay, using it as a guide, and then cutting using a tool, which we have a number of tools here. You pick the one, it really doesn't matter. You can use any one of them, and you're just going to cut around the circle. Again, we're not pressing it in like a cookie cutter. And if you pull in one direction, that would be rather than sawing. It'll work better. So once you cut that around, you probably will be able to lift it very gently off. I did not press this in, so you can see it's not inside the rim stuck. And I've got a nice circle here for my base for the head. Now, in this case, I want to do a snout. I'm going to use that around the circle. It doesn't have to be perfect, so don't worry if it's a perfect sphere, or circle, I should say. Excuse me, the light went out. Pardon the interruption. All right, again, notice that it's not inside of the lid. I don't want that to happen, and with this excess, we're gonna use for our attachments. Okay, so now I've got these two circles. My next step is going to be to smooth the edges. I'm going to use a little bit of slip here, which is just water and clay mixed. I'm just going to dip one finger into the slip and gently go around the edges. You don't want to add too much water here because then it gets too wet and hard to work with. And it will take longer to dry to put in the kiln. The kiln is the big oven we fire all the clay in. It gets this clay nice and hard for you to paint. So there, I've gone around the edges. You can see how smooth that is compared to this. And I would do the same with this. After we do both the snout and the head, you can see, just smooth it out. Don't smooth all over. You're gonna add too much water that way, just the edges. And now I'm gonna attach. I'm going to make a, let's see. I'm gonna make a puppy dog. So here is my beginning of my dog. I'm gonna scratch and attach. This is the most important part. You are going to pick the animal you want to do, but you are going to have attachments no matter what. I'm going to scratch the surface, and then I'm going to scratch the surface I'm applying to. And scratch, now we're adding the slip, which is the clay and water mixture. It's like the glue for our clay. And I'm applying the slip on both surfaces, the one that's being attached and the surface that we're attaching to. Once you do that, then you just kind of wedge it in. You want those grooves that you scratched to kind of click, and that's going to make your clay stick in the kiln. Otherwise, you're gonna run into problems. Now, in essence of time, I'm gonna go really fast here, but at this point, depending on the animal you're doing, you're gonna add the different attachments. Since I'm doing a dog, I'm gonna make a little nose, just rolling a little sphere, shaping it into the shape of a dog nose, somewhat. May not really look like one, but again, I'm doing this really fast, so. And of course, the most important thing is scratching and attaching. So once you get the nose, whatever shape you're making, again, the most important thing is going to be your attachment. Remember, both the surface and the piece you are sticking on the surface. And don't forget that slip. And apply, and you can mess around with fixing it the way you want. You can add in a mouth. You can fix that later. You can add in little freckles. If you're doing eyes, you can take a piece of clay, some of your extra break it into 2 even pieces, roll it into spheres, press down, and you've got 2 eyes that are similar. They don't have to be perfect. Place them where you want. Again, important, scratch and attach. I'm not doing that in essence of time. And finally, the ears. And just important, nothing protrudes too far off your slab. So once you get, where's my roller? Once you get your 2 ears, the way you are, and you can see I'm not being very careful here because I'm trying to rush. Decide where you're going to attach. What's important, of course, is you're attaching, scratching, slip, both surface and the ear. Attach down, work it in, and probably a good idea to curl down the ears if it's a puppy dog. Otherwise, you might look like a cat. So depending on what animal you're making, and you can mess around with fixing it up and add different textures, and we have all kinds of fun things you can do. Don't forget, once they're fired, you'll be painting them, so you can add some creative touches at that point too. Good luck, be creative, and let's go.
Yay, Clay Week.